Alright guys, so welcome back to another training video. I know it's been a while, but on screen here you can see me doing my favourite exercise, which is the weighted chin up for 92.5 kilos, total weight for 8 reps. Now I'm still just playing around with this exercise at this stage in the program, to be honest. I know I'm 14 weeks in, but I'm just easing up with this chin up, and I'll get it up some impressive numbers soon. But I'm just playing around with it at the moment, to be honest. It's not easy for me. I'm not going to pretend it's easy, but I'm definitely not, pushing for reps at all at this stage. So anyway, there's the 92.5 for 8, and I'm also been doing the overhead press, the bench press, the chin up, the seal row, which is a new exercise for me, deadlift, squats. Basically, it's all compound lifts that I've been doing on this training program. Very simple, but very effective as well. This is all reverse pyramid training style, and the program is very, very similar to Martin Berkhan's Lean Gains program, which I'll put a link down below in the description for that. It's basically just laid out in a 3-day template, but I've just chucked it into 2 workouts instead of 3. So it's obviously heavily based off that. And also in this video, I've got some strength standards for you all to have a look at to see how you compare. And if you want to take the fuck around itis test, again, I'll link the article down below for you to have a look at. It's a great article that I'd highly recommend you read. But I've put some numbers on screen in a table format for you so you can have a look and see if you've been fucking around in the gym or not. And I'll also discuss my own fuck around itis and how that came about. So here you can see the seal row, my new favorite rowing variation here. It's a very strict row, a lot stricter than like pendlay rows and things, and just bent over barbell rows and stuff like that. And this is why I like it, to be honest. Just a more accurate way to assess progress. So the next exercise here is the bench press. Unfortunately, I forgot to film my top 2 sets, so this was just my last set here, 65.5 kilos. But you'll notice a few things when I do my bench press here. Every rep is paused on the chest. As you can see, a good solid pause there. I've just found, to be honest, no benefit to doing the touch and go for my goals of just generally getting a bit stronger and just trying to grow my chest a bit. I just see no reason to do touch and go for what I am after, really. I just feel my chest a lot more doing the pause. Maybe one day if I decide to do touch and go, I'll be a little bit stronger, and that'll be a cool bonus. But yeah, so deadlift here, every rep coming to a dead stop, not bouncing it off the floor, and my lower back is in a very good position, as you can see. If you go back to some of my old starting strength videos, because I know quite a few of you have seen them, if you have a look at my lower back position, it's nowhere near as good as you see in this video. I may do a side-by-side comparison at some stage, just to point out a few technique things. But honestly, I'm strengthening my lower back with this lift, and I don't want my lower back to be rounded during it. Just for what I'm after, it just feels better for me if I keep my lower back in extension there. So yeah, I took a little break between my 3rd and 4th rep, but then pulled the 4th rep, and that was fine. One thing I don't want to be doing on this program is failing reps, so I try to avoid that. I push it as much as I can without failing any reps, if that makes sense. So I usually try and leave with about 1 rep in the tank. But what I've got for you on screen now is very important. So this is basically a strength standards chart for what should be achieved in 2 years. So in 2 years, following a half decent program, yeah, you might miss a few workouts, you might take a week off here and there, but generally 2 years of consistent training on a half decent program, you should be hitting these numbers for a 1 rep max. So if we take someone who weighs 60 kilos, you can see all the body weights at the top there. So we take someone who weighs 60 kilos after 2 years of decent training, not optimal training here, but not terrible training 6 days a week with 20 sets for biceps and all that shit. Half decent training program, should be able to bench press 72 kilos for a 1 rep max, which I think is definitely achievable. Again, if you weighed in a bit heavier, let's say 70 kilos, you should be able to, after 2 years, bench press a 1 rep max of 84 kilos. Now you may have one lift that you're particularly bad at, and for whatever reason you've got everything against you on that lift, or your leverages are poor for it and whatever, but you should still be hitting that number regardless. You'll just have a bit of a harder time doing it. Conversely, you'll have one lift that will be way out in front of the rest, and you may have a bit of an advantage with, for whatever reason. But yeah, it's really interesting to see. Let me know if you have passed this fuck around itis test. Again, the full article is in the description, so you can check that out if you want. Credit to Martin Burkhan for that. It was a great read, and I read it quite often myself, just to keep me on track. But yeah, if you at the top end of this scale that I've put on here, obviously you're not included in this table because you weigh less than 60 kilos or more than 90 kilos. You can just work out your numbers for yourself. It's really easy to do. It explains it all in the article. For someone who's 90 kilos, your 1 rep max bench after 2 years should be 108 kilos, okay? So it just gives a bit of context to what I'm after in terms of relative strength, because I'm not looking to have a lot of body fat. I'm not bothered about being 6% absolutely shredded, but at the same time, I wouldn't really want to go much above 12% body fat just for the kind of look I'm after. So these relative strength charts are really useful for me to see. If we have a look at some of my numbers here, you can see for 67 kilos body weight, which I am at the moment, you can see where all my lifts were on week 1, then on week 14 at the end of this little block, where my numbers are now, and then I've given a hypothetical projection of where I'd like to be for week 28. Then that's allowing me to take a week off potentially, miss a few sessions, because various things going on. So training might not be the most consistent. I might not have all my recovery resources to dedicate to growing stronger from the training. But I think the goals I've set out there for week 28 are very realistic. Not incredibly easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I won't be having to push the bleeding edge to reach them. And then you can see how that relates to the intermediate, advanced, and elite strength standards. I think advanced is in the article what it says you should reach within 5 years, elite within 10 years, I believe. Don't quote me on that though, check out the article below. So as you can see, what I'm shooting for now is to try and hit that 134 kilo deadlift, 107.2 kilo squat, which I could probably do now. Probably be about there, I think. Especially for my squat, I could definitely hit that. For my deadlift, it'd be difficult. I could definitely pull it from A to B, but with keeping that lower back position tight, I reckon I could just about get it. But as you can see, that's just the intermediate mark. Now, I've been in the gym for many more than 2 years. I've, probably serious gym training, I don't know, 5-6 years maybe. I say serious gym training, obviously not, because clearly suffer with fuck arounditis on these lower body lifts, and I didn't train lower body at all for a long time, so yeah, you got to factor that in as well. But it just basically confirms to me what I already know, and what a lot of you guys will probably suffer from as well, because I see a lot of this, is that you've not paid any real attention to your lower body lifts. They're starting to lag behind. You might not even be able to reach these intermediate numbers after being in the gym for however many years. But conversely, if you have been training for about 2 years and you can hit these intermediate standards, congratulations, you've been getting a half decent return on your investments to training. But if you're not hitting these 1 rep max standards, then I'm afraid you are suffering from fuck arounditis, and you need to reevaluate your training program on how much sleep you get in, your diet, and various other factors that may influence it. Because this isn't like this 2-year benchmark intermediate thing. This is not for optimal programming, optimal lifestyle. This is for just a half decent training program, allowing you to take a week off here and there, occasionally miss a workout, but you should still be getting up to these numbers. And as you can see, if you take my chin up, for example, a lift that I've done fairly consistently through little periods of time over the years, my chin up is probably somewhere between the advanced to elite level. In fact, when I worked it out for my 1 rep max, which was 50 kilos a bit ago, there's a video of me somewhere on my channel doing 50 kilos, and I think from memory I was about 67 kilos body weight, which puts me about 3 or 4 kilos below the elite line for chin ups. So that's definitely my strongest lift by far. Again, there's a video of me doing 90 kilo pause bench for 1, so somewhere between the intermediate to advanced for my bench. If it's not there quite now because my bench strength is a little lower than it has been previously, I'll get it back up there in a few weeks. So yeah, but as you can see, my deadlift and squat, nowhere near 170 kilo deadlift, nowhere near 135 squat, so I definitely need to put some good work into them to get them up to the advanced level. But it's good. It'll just give you guys a bit of a gauge of where to shoot for if you're after a similar kind of look that I'm after, which is, maybe about 10% body fat, um, with some decent strength is kind of look I'm going for. Obviously, if you're not bothered about your body fat percentage and you just want to go for pure strength, then yeah, you could get your lifts up a lot faster. But in terms of your relative strength, it perhaps wouldn't be that great. But anyway, moving on from that, we can see these are my training logs for the past 14 weeks. And I'll just quickly flash these up on screen for anyone who's interested. But I'm not going to go into any great detail on them. You can just have a look how my progression went. And yeah, it's not always completely linear. Some workouts you may hit exactly the same as you did last workout. You're not always going to increase on your top set. That's something that only happens for a very limited amount of time. And then you'll start trying to have to make progress on your second set instead, or your third set. Like I said, you might have some workouts where all your sets are exactly the same, but eventually you will break through them plateaus. But anyway, I think that's all about I want to discuss in this video today. If there are any questions on that, then you can leave them down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. If there's anything else that you'd like to see me talk about particularly, then you can definitely leave a suggestion with me and I'll get on to that. Hopefully it won't be 14 weeks before I make another update on my training, but we'll just have to see how things go. But anyway, I appreciate you all for watching the video, and see you all next time.